Hi friends, welcome. My name is Nilesh. In this video, we are going to talk about how to keep yourself updated with Azure. In the earlier video, I had shown how to get started with Microsoft Azure. So you can think of this video as a continuation of the previous one, and let's get started with this. So in this video, I will share some of those resources which I personally use to keep myself updated with some of the latest things which are happening with Microsoft Azure. So let's get started with the first one. I did mention about this in the earlier video as well. This is called the MS Learn or Microsoft Learn, and it's a collection of resources not just related to Azure but various other things related to .NET, SQL Server, Visual Studio, and various other tools and services which are provided by Microsoft. So let's get started with the part which is related to Azure. Here you have many courses or modules which you can take up individually, or there is also what is called as the learning path. So I'll focus this discussion around the learning path because I find it very useful when you want to learn about technology or a particular service and you have various things which are linked to that particular service. So let me take example of let's say as a solution architect. If I want to learn about something, so I can filter here based on the roles, and I can choose solution architect, and I choose under the types as learning path. And let's say I want to learn about how to build or how to architect network infrastructure in Azure. So I can select this, and you can see here that this particular learning path consists of 12 different modules where we talk about how to connect on-premise network to the Azure using different services like the Azure Virtual Network Gateway or VPN Virtual Private Network Gateway. Then we also talk about Express Route, then service endpoints, virtual network peering, and all these different things which are related to the network connectivity using Azure. And once we have gone through these modules, we also get different things which are related to the hands-on part. So earlier there was a section under MS Learn where you could just like the products, roles, and the levels, you could also filter based on the part of hands-on labs, but currently I don't see that option here since the site has been updated, but still we can go through these existing options, which is to go through the learning path. And many of these learning paths, they have these exercises. So these exercises are basically your hands-on labs, and you get access to Azure portal using the Cloud Shell, and you can use Azure portal to do your exercises. I think if I'm not mistaken, each session is valid for 1 or 2 hours, and you can perform up to 40 different hands-on labs in a week. So you do get quite a lot of time using these free hands-on labs, and you can make use of these exercises to get yourself familiar with the Cloud Shell as well as some of these services. Once we have these, which is the MS Learn, we can go to the next level. So this contains the basic level, very introductory level of information. We also have the intermediate and expert level. So when we filter, we can filter based on the level as well, and based on our current maturity level or current understanding with Azure services, we can work with different modules or learning paths accordingly. The next resource I would like to share with you is the Azure Updates. This was mentioned in one of the video which I shared in the earlier last week's session or last week's YouTube video which I did, how to get started, and there was this mention of Azure Updates. Azure Updates is a site or a link which gives you updates about all the services. So let's assume that you are now familiar with Azure and you want to understand what are the things which are coming up. So where can you get what's the latest information or which services are getting updated? This is the place you can go. This again has different filters, like you can filter based on the product, the type of service or the category of service, and you can also filter based on the update type, like if it is related to compliance, if it is related to a type of event like Microsoft Build or Ignite, Inspire, or it's related to open source. So these kind of filters, as well as the filter for the status. Is it available publicly or in preview or in development? And this is a very good resource to keep yourself updated in terms of what's happening or the announcements which are coming up related to various services in Azure. On the similar lines, we have the Azure Infohub, which acts as an aggregator of various resources. So we have the things related to the blog post, we get videos, we get the news updates. We also have the popular videos or some of the videos which are related to Azure. This is focused purely on Azure side of things. So we also have podcast. This is another resource which I personally find very useful. And last week I mentioned again in the Azure Friday. So Azure Friday is dedicated to the services, and this is hosted by Scott Hanselman and Donovan Brown. It is one place where we find the engineers who build Azure services. They come and talk about what's coming, upcoming, and what are the features of the services. One of that show where you get within 10-15 minutes or maximum about half an hour what's happening, latest and the greatest features of the technologies and the tools available. I highly recommend this, and if you're not subscribed to Azure Friday, please go ahead and subscribe it right away. If it is not just Azure Friday, or if you're not just looking at updates to the services, there is also the YouTube channel which is related to Microsoft Azure, and this has broad categories. Like you have the Azure tips and tricks, you have the recent announcements, there is the developer streams, how-to series, there is one dev questions. So this is that one place, I would say, where if you are a YouTube kind of person where you like to see videos, where you like to learn using videos, please subscribe to this Microsoft Azure channel, where you have all kinds of information. It's about events, it's also categorized into different services or different categories. Like you have things related to compute, databases, developer tools, AI, intelligence and analytics, open source, Azure infrastructure. A great resource, again highly recommended. Then there is the blog or the channel by Scott Hanselman itself. He just not talks about the Azure Friday, but he also does his own YouTube channel, and this is again contains various resources related to Azure. And I would say he is my idol. I just follow Scott Hanselman right from the beginning of my career, and I've learned quite a lot from him. It's one of the best resource to follow, even if you are not into Azure. The kind of stuff that Scott teaches, is a great teacher, and I would say that I've learned a lot just by going through his videos. Next in line is some of the YouTube channels that I follow. I like to learn using videos. There are multiple ways. Your mileage might vary the way you learn about things, but for me, I find it easier that once you have gone through, let's say, these blogs or the updates that you get from the websites, it's much easier if you see it in action. And YouTube videos or other e-learning resources are a very good source of information. Personally, I find it useful to just have a look at quick video, and I understand it much better that way when I see things in action. So in that sense, I would recommend to follow John Saville. He has been doing great videos in terms of Azure infrastructure side of things. So if you want to learn about any updates that are going on around the infrastructure related things and networking, John Saville has a great great set of videos, YouTube videos. He's also an accomplished author. He is authored multiple books, as well as he is author for the Pluralsight courses. So in terms of the free videos that are available, I would say the content which John Saville has been producing is excellent quality. He has also started recently about some mentoring program where you can see about the identity. There is also the Azure Masterclass, which is Cloud Foundation Basics, and if I'm not mistaken, he has planned to do this for about 9 or 10 different topics. This is just got started, so again, a very good opportunity to learn from one of the best person in the industry about all these services. Then in terms of other weekly updates, I also follow Sarah Lin. She is a cloud developer advocate, and she talks about various service updates which happen during a week. So many of these the cloud developer advocates, they have their YouTube channels where they regularly post about the weekly updates about what's happening in Azure, and I personally follow many of these cloud developer advocates, and some of these updates which are again part of the Azure updates, they get highlighted by these excellent folks, and you get to learn some of the things which are which may not be available or which may not be listed in these Azure updates as part of these weekly updates. So Sarah, she talks about Azure Migrate. So if you're into the space where you're dealing with migrating workloads from, let's say, on-premise to cloud, her blog or her channel is a very good resource. If you are into serverless things, then I would recommend to follow Frank, another cloud developer advocate, Frank Boscher. He has his channel in, or rather his blog in French as well as in English. So a bilingual blog or a person to follow. Then I also follow Thomas Maurer. Thomas Maurer is again one of those cloud developer advocates, and he is into the hybrid Azure cloud technologies and management. So if you want to learn about how we can build hybrid cloud, how we can integrate with on-premise as well as public cloud services, Thomas Maurer is my person to follow, or I would recommend to follow him. He has excellent blog. He also has been blogging very regularly about some of the tips and tricks about the preparations for all the Azure exams. So not just about the Azure Migrate or not just about the hybrid cloud management technologies. If you want to prepare yourself for the Azure certifications exam, Thomas Maurer has a great series of posts regarding this, and I've learned a lot from those posts that he has done. So I would highly recommend again going and looking at his blog as well as his YouTube channel. I also have a subscription to many others on the similar lines. So if you want to learn about, let's say, DevOps, then there is this MVP who is very well known in the space of DevOps. His name is Mike Pfeiffer. Let me try to find his channel. Tim Warner is one. Tim Warner is one of the Pluralsight authors. He has great resources related to Azure. But at the moment, I'm looking for Mike Pfeiffer. We can also look at A Cloud Guru. And if I'm not mistaken, Cloud Skills is the one where Mike Pfeiffer is the author, or he is the one who is running this. So again, Mike has been in the industry for so many years. He is one of the accomplished book author. He also has many courses on Pluralsight, and he is having there's various resources related to DevOps mainly. So how to build cloud skills, and you can see from these resources that this is another blog which I would like you to recommend, or another channel which I would recommend very highly. Then we look at A Cloud Guru. So I was using Linux Academy, and Linux Academy has been merged or acquired by A Cloud Guru, and these two platforms are now available as A Cloud Guru. A Cloud Guru has a lot of content. It's mainly around cloud, not just about Azure. They have content around Azure, GCP, Google Cloud, AWS, and you can follow this for if you are looking for resources around multi-cloud environments. We looked at Cloud Skills, which is Mike Pfeiffer's. Then Tim Warner. His YouTube channel is very good for Azure fundamentals. If you are preparing for Azure certifications and you want to learn about Azure fundamentals, I would recommend to go through these videos that he has published as a series of videos. And then there is Sam Cogan. Sam Cogan is another Microsoft MVP, Most Valuable Professional, who has a series of videos on ARM templates. So if you want to learn about infrastructure as a code, this is a very good resource where Sam Cogan walks you through about different properties or different ways in which ARM templates can be used. I also follow, from the DevOps perspective, the guy who is very famous, and that's none other than Donovan Brown. So Donovan Brown, he is also the co-host of Azure Friday. I like to follow his videos as well as his talks when it comes to DevOps. And we also have, let me see if I have him in my subscriptions, Abel Wong, the DevOps guy from Microsoft. I don't have his YouTube channel, but if we go into the Azure, Microsoft Azure, we can find many of his videos about the DevOps. I think he did recently a couple of videos on the Azure Friday where they talked about how we can implement DevOps using Azure, DevOps practices using Azure DevOps. So he is another guy to follow. So in this video, I wanted to show you what are the different ways in which we can keep updated with the changes which are coming. In the future video, there was also a request for me earlier to tell about how do I keep myself updated with the technology. So not just Azure. So I would talk about what are the different tools I use personally to keep myself up to date. But this video was dedicated to how we can keep ourselves updated about Microsoft Azure in general and the updates that come up with Microsoft Azure. So I hope you found this useful. So we talked about the Azure, first one we talked about is the MS Learn, which is your learning module where you can start from a very basic side of things. You can go on to intermediate and expert level modules, and you can also have the learning paths. You also get free access to Azure Portal and Azure Cloud Shell up to a certain number of hours in a week. Then we also looked at aggregator, which is Azure Infohub. This contains the news, updates, videos, and podcasts related to Azure. And then my favorite, Azure Friday, and we looked at various other YouTube related resources or video resources which help us or which can be used to keep ourselves updated with the people who constantly keep giving us these updates about different services. So I hope you found this useful. If you find this useful, the video, please hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and share it with others. Until next time, code with passion and strive for excellence. Thank you. Thank you for watching this video.